In this video, we're going to show you how to install the serpentine belt tensioner on your Volvo S60 located on the side of the engine. Now with the hood open, on the passenger side, you want to go ahead and pull up on our power steering reservoir here. Now it just clips on to the expansion tank. So there's going to be a center tab here and two lower ones. All you're going to do is gently pull straight up and pop that up and out. Now there's going to be two hoses, one on the back side over here and this large hose here running over to the pump. Go ahead and pop that hose out. Now I'm going to use a securing strap just to kind of tuck this up and out of the way. You can hook it onto anything that you can just to kind of hold it up. Here we have our new tensioner. Now there's limited amount of space down between the front of the engine and the fender well. So what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and use a T60 Torx bit to go ahead and insert into this, and we're going to turn it clockwise to release the tension on our serpentine belt. You also want to pay attention to the orientation of the bolts. There's going to be one just up above and then straight down below. There's only two bolts holding this in place. We're going to remove this one here from up top, and then we're going to access the lower one through the wheel well area. Now here's a little tech tip for you. In order to remove this here, you need a T60 Torx bit. Now most of these here you're going to find in a 1/2-inch drive, and due to the amount of clearance between the tensioner and the wheel well area, you can't use your giant ratchet with this here. So in our case here, we're able to simply use a punch and knock this out. And you can always tap this back into this later on. But using this here in combination with the corresponding socket, which for us is a 12mm, we can now fit our 3/8 component in there, our socket, and our Torx bit to gain access in between the wheel well and the tensioner. All right, so we're going to go ahead and drop our ratchet down into position. And then we want to move this clockwise. Go ahead and work our belt off. Then we can go ahead and remove our tool. Now before you remove your belt altogether, now's the perfect time to go ahead and grab some pen and a paper and go ahead and write out your schematic on how the belt is run. Make sure it runs around your power steering, your alternator, your AC, your tensioner, and your crankshaft. Make sure it's routed properly. That way when you go to install that belt, you know exactly how it goes. Now when you remove that belt, it's good for you to go ahead and take that belt and you fold over like so, and you kind of roll it in your hand, and you're going to inspect that belt looking for dry cracks and splits. Check the other side as well. And we can see that this belt is splitting. Could be from age and heat, combination of both. So definitely needs to be replaced. Now let's take you down here to show you where the bolts are to remove the tensioner here. There's the alternator bolt, and right here in the center of the screen is the 10mm bolt for our particular model. We need to loosen. And then the other one we're going to gain access to from below is right there. That's the one we need to get to. We're going to access that through the wheel well opening. So let's go ahead and get to it. Now we're using a 10mm deep socket. Get our 3/8 ratchet on there. All right, you might get it to a point where you can Get your fingers in there, and just using the fingertips, you can go ahead and spin that bolt out. There we go. There it is. Let's go ahead and move into the wheel well. With the vehicle raised and supported, we're going to use our 19mm socket to loosen the lug studs. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. You want to be ready to capture that wheel because the stud itself is going to come out with it and the wheel is going to follow right after. Grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. Note the wheel removed, you want to go ahead and remove this inner splash shield right here. There's going to be a 10mm nut washer right here and one right here. And we're going to be reusing this, so make sure you hold on to those. And once you have that cover off, you notice here that there is a line, and this is kind of a fold line for the wheel well liner. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. Fold this back. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a pair of locking pliers here to just kind of like fold on this here and pinch that up like that. I also want to go ahead and pull this trim off here. Now you can use a securing strap as well if you want. I'm going to peel this down and out of the way. Now that we have this area clear, let's go ahead and look up inside and check out that hardware. Now right up here, we can see the 10mm bolt. So let's go ahead and loosen and remove that. Now I'm going to use my 1/4 inch ratchet with a 10mm socket. It's going to be a deep socket. Here we go. Now sometimes you can just get your hand right up in there and finish spinning that out. Here we go. Now one hand is going to hold the tensioner, the other one is going to, the other fingers are there are going to pull that bolt out. There we go. I'll go ahead and wiggle this out and pull that down. Take the new tensioner, I'm going to slide this up into place. Now both the upper and lower bolt are the same, so let's go ahead and get that lower bolt started. Now if you feel daring enough, you can run your hand up and locate that upper mounting hole. We're going to go ahead and try to install our upper bolt while we're down below still. All right, so I have the bolt in the tensioner. I'm just going to grab the tensioner and move it around a little bit, locate the hole on the engine. I'm going to try and get that started. Now the nice thing about doing this here is that we can now go ahead and tighten that lower bolt, and then we can go up top and tighten the upper one from up above. All right, I'm just threading these down as far as I can by hand. All right, let's go ahead and snug these down. All right, so it's bottomed out right there. You do want to make sure it's good and snug. Now, if you have the ability to do so, you want to go ahead and torque this down to 14.75 foot-pounds. Now, you're just snugging that bolt in, aluminum, or through aluminum, into aluminum. Let's go ahead and do the same for the upper. I'm going to feed our inner splash shield up here. Feed this up behind. All right, now once you install your liner there, I'm going to remove this, fold this down into position, put that in place, install that shield here. Now we're gently going to snug these down. These are just plastic nuts, so you don't want to over tighten these. You're going to feel it snug down gently. Do the same for this one. Now before starting this here, I'd like to go ahead and line up our brake rotor so that we have one of the wheel studs holes right at 12 o'clock. Grab your wheel, line that up. I'm going to try and get that top center one started. Once we have that top center one started, we can go ahead and let go of that, and then we'll get the other four started. Once these are all started, we're going to go ahead and snug them down. When doing this here, it's preferred to do it in a crisscross or a star pattern. Let's torque down our lug nuts to 103 foot-pounds. Once again, doing this in a crisscross or star pattern. I'll let it come back to that first one more time, just double check it, and you're all set. Let's go ahead and torque down our upper bolts at 14.7 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and start feeding our belt down inside. The last pulley that we're going to be putting the belt on is the tensioner. I'm feeding this down now to put it onto our crank pulley. Pull this down. Get our belt stretched over onto that tensioner. Now we have it on our tensioner. You just want to go ahead and do a visual inspection. Make sure that the belt is on all of the pulleys and inside all of the ribs. Do a visual inspection. Everything looks good. We're going to go ahead and release our tensioner. Go ahead and release your securing strap if you chose to use something like this here. Get that out of the way. Now when we lower this down, there's going to be 3 points of contact where it locks into the expansion tank, one on the top, and there's 2 little tabs here, so this will drop down into place. Don't forget to bring this hose over and down. Pop this into this bracket, and simply lower this down onto the 3 tabs.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.